Now that we have reviewed the definitions and characteristics of open educational resources and other alternative materials, let's take a look at how you can incorporate them into your online class. This demonstration uses the Blackboard Learning Management System, but the same concepts apply to other systems such as Canvas and Desire2Learn. When incorporating OER or other materials into your course, I have 4 simple rules. The first is to give your students instructions about how to access the material and specify which materials to read. Please do not simply provide a link to a resource without an explanation of what it is and what students should do with it. Secondly, it is best practice and also a requirement of the Quality Matter 6th edition rubric to include citations for all sources. Third, most materials are either difficult to embed directly into Blackboard or cannot be embedded at all. Instead, linking out to the original source is the best option. Another best practice is to provide alternate means of access to make sure materials are accessible. This is also the law according to Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act. Let's look at an example of using OpenStax. This first example demonstrates how to incorporate an anatomy and physiology textbook from OpenStax in Blackboard. I personally like OpenStax because it provides a description and other information about a specific material, such as author, Creative Commons license, and accessibility features. OpenStax also provides multiple methods of access that allows users to choose to read the material directly online or to download the material. Instructors also have the capability to officially adopt the text for the length of the course. This is at no cost to the institution, instructor, or students. This is not a requirement. However, I would recommend this option if you want to use the entire book rather than only 1 or 2 chapters. Below, I have written a sample task with instructions on how to access the content. This example mostly uses links to access the materials. I have also provided an attached Word file for those who need it or like this option better. This next example, if I scroll down here, looking at this, is a file. So if I click on this, it will open as a PDF, and here are the instructions. Below this is an example of a web link. So this is a web link, as you can see by the symbol here on the left. Rather than providing multiple links in the body, this web link will take users directly to the material. Of course, I have also provided the links anyway in the body since we all know that technology has glitches. So if I click on this, it will take me to the text directly. And there it is, Anatomy and Physiology. However, I would like to show you from the very beginning about how I retrieved this material. So I'm going to go to the OpenStax homepage. Next, I search by subject. And as you can see, there are multiple subjects I can choose from. However, I chose science, and here are all the available science textbooks. And the first one on the list is Anatomy and Physiology. So when I click on this again, there's that page where that web link took me directly to. Here, I can read about the text as well as view a table of contents. So that's the table of contents, and I have the option of viewing online. And this will take a minute to load, but it provides me direct access to the material and allows me to view the contents here, and I can click to a different section. So here I am reading online, and I don't have to download. But if I go back, here are multiple other ways in which I can read the content. Now, for the most important feature of this text, the Creative Commons license type. So remember from earlier, the Creative Commons license will determine how you can use this material. Typically, the licenses are at the very bottom of the page. So if I scroll down the page, it's very long. There it is, the very bottom. We can see that this text has the most basic license of attribution, so we can pretty much do anything we want with this material as long as we give credit to the original source here in OpenStax. My next example is of incorporating a lecture from Open Yale Courses. I like these resources because if you need a break from lecturing, you can find a lecture on this site. Students can download primary and supplementary materials, and the lecture is also available in a variety of formats such as HTML transcripts and audio to meet accessibility and universal design for learning principles. One thing to note about inserting the Open Yale Courses link is that Blackboard does not like it. If I click on this, it will take me back to Blackboard, and I do not want that. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you why this happens. Instead, students will need to copy and paste the link into a new tab or window of their web browser. So this is an example of the main Open Yale Courses page where you can choose from the available lectures. And as you can see, there are multiple topics to choose from. As an instructor, be sure to read the terms of use, particularly numbers 3 through 6, which talk about the intellectual property rights and Creative Commons licensing. The majority of the lectures on the Open Yale Courses site have an attribution, non-commercial, share-alike Creative Commons license, so it is very specific on how you can use the material. I have two examples here. This first example is an item and includes the link to the lecture as well as instructions of how to access the lecture within the body of the text. I have also included the citation for this source. If I click on this link, I will be taken directly to the page of the lecture. So here I have the overview, the video of the lecture, as well as options to view the lecture in segments. Below, I have the different formats I can choose from, as well as notes. The second example is a web link. Since this heading is a link to the page, providing the link within the body of the text is not necessary. I have also included clear instructions and the citation. In this second example, there is the option of accessing the instructions in Word and PDF files. Remember from before, if I click on the PDF, it will open directly in Blackboard. This file is an example of how you can provide instructions. This is okay to begin with. This is better, it's a little bit more detailed. And then on the next page, it demonstrates best practices for providing instructions with a task as well as step-by-step guide of accessing the material. When it comes to the Word document, if I click on this link, it will download. And so you have to wait for it to download, then I can click on it and it will take a minute for it to open. And there it is in Word. Having both files as well as the instructions in the body of the text within Blackboard may seem redundant, but we are following rule number 4 of providing alternative means of access for accessibility and universal design for learning purposes. Since we already looked at the item, let's take a look at the web link. And if I click on this title, I am taken directly to the lecture page. As you can see, it has a similar setup with the title of the lecture and the class, as well as a brief description, the video, the different segments of the lecture, and alternative formats. However, in this example, there are no additional notes available, and that is per the instructor's preference for this class. Okay, let's go back to Blackboard and look at another example. YouTube. YouTube is very common, and as we all know from earlier today, it is an open educational resource. For this example, I found Dr. Jared Gardner's pathology videos about melanoma. I have 3 different examples of this video, and the first option is a basic link that will take users outside Blackboard to the YouTube page. And so in this example, I did a hyperlink on the title as well as the link just in case my hyperlink did not work, but both should go to the same page. So if I click here, we are leaving Blackboard and entering the YouTube website where we can watch the video. The second option is a thumbnail representation of the video, and this thumbnail will open a new small window within Blackboard. As you can see, we also have a description of the video, the duration, and the official YouTube link if users would like to go to YouTube instead to watch it. Thumbnails are a little tricky, and so if I click on this to open, there is that smaller window, and then I have to click play again to access the video. Or I can just click here where it will take me back out to YouTube. This third option depicts the video as fully embedded within Blackboard and will play directly on the screen without opening a new window or leaving the site. These two options, option 2 with the thumbnail and option 3 with the fully embedded video, were created using the Mashups tool within Blackboard. Thank you for watching, and be sure to contact your local librarians and instructional designers to help you find materials to incorporate into your course.